What's up, my peeps? This is your girl, Fabulous Fabs. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about PAPATWEEK. So if you guys haven't seen my video, You Can't Be My Mom, I definitely suggest that you guys go watch it, because that video and this video pretty much will give you guys an idea of the kind of parents that we have. If any of you guys follow me from my brother's channel, Jerry Tweek, or Beauty Mars, or my baby sister J-Lo Blogs, you guys have seen my parents be like super supportive in what we do. We're just really tight family, and I think that has a lot to do with the stuff that we have all been put through and the stuff that we all had to go through. In the video You Can't Be My Mom, I went into detail about like some of the stuff that my mom had to go through, some of the stuff that me and my older sister had to go through. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who is supporting me or any of my siblings, Jerry Tweek, Beauty Mars, J-Lo Blogs, on our videos, and has just given us a lot of love and support. I want to give you guys a huge shout out. PAPATWEEK, that's what we're going to call him, and we call my mom MAMATWEEK. PAPATWEEK is not me and my older sister's real dad. He's actually me and Anita's stepdad. And so that's basically what this video is going to be about, giving you guys a inside look at how him and my mom met, where they met, and just go from there. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and this will just give you guys an insight of why we're so close and why we're just super supportive of one another. And then also how awesome my parents are, you know? Like, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people see us or see the videos and they're like, oh man, like, they've never gone through anything, or they look like, you know, they don't have no struggles, or like they look like the perfect family. And the truth of the matter is, we have gone through stuff, and I think that's what's made us stronger, a stronger, better family. And I think that's why we're so close to each other. And then I think that's another reason why we just support each other 100%. No questions asked. Even if we're beefing it, even if we're just mad at each other, because let's be honest, like we're not always gonna agree on every single thing. We don't all think the same. We don't all act the same. You know, we all have our own little different twerks and stuff. But at the end of the day, we're family, and we're sticking together no matter what. Like I just told you guys, PAPATWEEK is not me and my older sister Anita's real dad. He's our stepdad. So he actually comes from the same town in Mexico where my mom's from. So they actually know each other. Like, they actually knew each other growing up, but they never like talked or hung out or anything like that. So when my mom was here struggling, like I had told you guys in my mom's video, honoring my mom, she was working 2-3 jobs to help support me and my older sister. You know, she was new to this country and, you know, didn't speak the lingo, didn't have a good job. So she was working all these little side jobs, you know, working at the swap meet, you know, cleaning houses, stuff like that. And she was living with her parents and I believe one or two of my uncles. And so there was this party that my grandma wanted to go to, and my mom didn't want to go. And my grandma was like, you don't want to take me to the party? Like, I'm here taking care of your kids. And, you know, my grandma, if anybody knows, if any of you guys were to have met my grandma, she loved to dance, because she just passed away last year from cancer. She used to love to dance. Like, she would be that type of person that even if nobody was dancing with her on the dance floor, like, she would be dancing by herself always. Like, and her favorite song was La Chona. And so she loves dancing. She loves music. She was always like, I don't care if nobody wants to dance with me, like, I'm still gonna dance, you know? And so she did, and she just didn't care. Like, sometimes there was like songs that would come out, like the rancheras and stuff, where you would have to hug the other person, and I'd feel bad for her. So sometimes me or Jerry Tweek or one of my siblings or some of my cousins would go and just dance with her. You know, we didn't think it was cool at the time. I mean, I was like 10 years old, 12 years old. Like, you don't think it's cool to dance with your grandma, you know? But now that she's not here, I think about it and I'm like, man, you know? Luckily, when I was older and I was growing up, like, I overcame that. Who cares what people think? And, you know, this is my grandma and she loves this. So I understood. So I did it more often, even as a grown up. And I was no longer like shy or embarrassed to dance with my grandma. So anyway, so my grandma wanted to go to this party, and And so my mom's like, no, I don't want to go. I just came from work. Like, I'm really tired. So my grandma gave her like a fit, you know, like, I can't believe you're not going to take me to this party, blah, 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 blah. And my mom said, she's like, I was like, fine, arreglate, and I'm going to take you, you know. So my mom started curling her hair. You know, they had the little big puffy hairs, like with the copete, like this, and then the hair done all curly or whatever style they wanted it in. And my mom said that she burned herself with a curling iron, and she was pissed. She's all like, I was so pissed to go to this party because I didn't want to go. I was tired. I burned my forehead, and your grandma's over here nagging at me. And little did my mom know that Papatweek and her had mutual friends or mutual people that they knew. So she said she was at the party, and keep in mind, my mom was single at this time. So she was at this party, and she said that some guy across the hall like caught her eye, and she was like, "Ooh, that guy's a cutie." Q&A with MAMATWEEK. It's in my video where some people ask like how she met Papatweek, and she's like, "Oh, you know, this is how I met him at a party," and that she was like, she thought he was a hottie, and that she loves him to death, and she will love him till the end of the day that she dies. Like, it's in my video, guys. It's in the Q&A, Q&A with MAMATWEEK, and you'll see there her reaction. Like, that just tells you all. Like, she's always told us, like, I've loved him from like the beginning, like from when I saw him. Like, she's like, I felt something in my heart, but she didn't even know that this guy was gonna come to ask her out to dance. She didn't know that Papatweek like had seen her too, you know, looking like a little cutie herself. So basically what ended up happening is, I guess in one of the songs, like, Papatweek came and touched her on the shoulder, and he was like, ¿Quieres bailar? And she's like, I looked up and I saw it was him, and she's like, I smiled, and I was like, you know, she said, yeah. So they went out to dance, and so they're dancing and stuff, these type of songs, the rancheras and stuff. We love to dance a lot of rancheras where we're from. So that's like one of the main dances that we do. And so he asked her out to dance, and she said yeah, and they're dancing. And you know how Mexican parties are, you know, they over invite people. They never even know how many people they invited. Like, in our culture, in our family where we're from, the only time there will be like counted people is if the person throwing the party is like, hey, it's invite only, or only this amount of people can come through, or whatever, for whatever reason. Like, for if it's the hall and the hall limits on the amount of people, or if it's a house and there's a certain reason why they don't want more people there. But for the most part, the way we invite parties is like, my parents will go to like a gathering with their friends or to a party, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, my hija se está casando, like my daughter's getting married, come through, you know. And then they'll invite people and be like, oh yeah, bring your kids, you know, and whatever. And then we never have a count of how many people are actually going to show up at our parties. So it's always like overcrowded, and you're bumping into people. So this happened to be one of those times where it was crowded at this party. Did they know they had the same they were in the same circle of like people that they knew and stuff. So they go out to dance, and you know, my Papatweek is trying to, you know, play his game on my mom, and I call him dad. So from now on, I'm just gonna call him dad. I'll call him Papatweek here and there. So just keep in mind, anytime I do say dad, it is Papatweek. It's not my real father. I don't consider that guy a father. So I don't think he deserves that name. Dancing, you know, he's asking you the typical questions a guy asks you when you're dancing, like, oh, you know, de donde eres, and you know, like, you know, what's your name and stuff. So my mom was like, oh, me llamo Rosa, and my dad, you know, busting out that cliche, oh yeah, que nombre tan bonito, you know, like, what a beautiful name. And my mom's like, oh, thank you. And he's like, oh, you know, how do you know about this party? My mom told him and stuff like that. It so happened that when my mom and my dad were dancing, they bumped into my dad's brother and his wife. And so they were bumping into each other. And then the wife, my tia, she told my mom, she's like, ora Carmen, muévete más recio. My mom's name is Carmen. And that she was basically telling her, like, move a little, you know, a little faster, like move to the rhythm of the beat, you know, like kind of like talking smack on her, but playing around, nothing, like not being serious. And my dad's like, what? Your name's Carmen? I thought it was Rosa, you know? And my mom's like, oh no, my name's really Carmen. And he was like, how do you know Lupe? So shout out to my tia Lupe. And he was like, how do you know her? And she's like, oh, I know her from the hometown. And so my dad's like, well, where exactly are you from? And so he told her, it turns out like they know the same people. Like my grandma and I think my grandpa are like compadres or something like that, like long distance or something like that. And turns out like they were like, oh shit, I didn't know we actually know each other. And they were like, oh, you're so and so and blah 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 blah. And then they were like, okay, so it's somebody from the hometown, you know. Where we're from, it's typical you get from the same people from your hometown because they know your customs, they know your traditions. Dance happened, they ended up dancing all night long or whatever, they hit it off. And I guess he really liked her, so he asked her for her number, and she was like, okay, you know. And back then they didn't have cell phones, so it was like a house phone. And so she told them, like, you know, when you call for me, like, you know, I live with other people, so they might answer and just tell him that, you know, that you want to talk to Carmen. But my dad, being the gentleman that he is, when he did call her, he asked to speak to, like, I believe it was my grandpa. And then after my grandpa, it was my tío that lived with my mom. And because he was basically like telling them, like, I want to ask, you know, like I said, they follow tradition. So he wanted to ask permission from my mom's siblings and parents if he could take her out on a date, because that's just the way it was back in the day. You just don't, hey, let's go on a date, and you're like, hey, mom and dad, I'm going on a date with so and so. Like, it was like you follow steps. You don't want to step on anybody's toe. You don't want them to hate you low key, you know, because back then if the parents said no, then it's a no, and that's just the way it is. Oh wow, you're sad, so what, you know? And he basically told them, like, I don't want to play with her, like, I really like her and stuff like that. So after getting to know each other for a little bit and going like on two dates, they weren't even dating for that long. My mom told him, he's like, you know what, like, I'm not single. Like, I am single, like, I don't have anybody, but no estoy soltera, like, I have kids. I have 2 kids. And he was like, kind of like, okay. And my mom's like, no, I have like 2 kids, you know, because like back in the day, like, if you had kids, like, you were known as a fracasada. You were basically like low-key like trash. Like, oh man, she's from a failed marriage. Like, you don't want to get with someone like that, you know. It's like frowned upon because you're like a loser, kind of like, you're kind of like, you didn't follow the norm. Because back then, like, no matter what your husband did to you, if he cheated on you, if he beat you, if he almost killed you, like, you stick with your husband no matter what. From our hometown, that's just the way it is. It's not normal for you to leave. So my dad was like, okay. And my mom was like, you know, so this is serious for me. Is it serious for you? My mom is 3 years older than my dad. She is 50, gonna turn 51 this year, and he just turned 48. So, you know, she got herself a little pollito. Someone who already is like, has 2 kids, and someone who is single, like single, doesn't have to worry about anything. Like, you got to think about it. Like, he's going to go into being like a stepdad and have 2 kids already off the bat from being single after like a couple weeks, you know. My dad, you know, told his friends and his, you know, people he worked with and stuff, like, that he liked my mom, and a lot of people disapproved, you know, like, they knew who she was. Like I said, they had mutual friends and mutual people that they knew from the same hometown. And back then where my dad lived, it was like a whole little section of the street was literally from the same people in the same pueblito. So it was like a street, and a bunch of people like lived on the same street from the same pueblito. And so he got discouraged, you know. He was like turned down and stuff. Like, they told him, like, what are you doing? You're a single guy. Like, she's a fracasada. She has 2 kids. Like, get with anybody else. Like, freaking, there's so many girls out there, and you're going to choose this one. A lot of his friends were telling him not to do it. It got so bad that even one of his siblings that he worked for took his job away for the only reason of my mom, because he wanted to date my mom. He legitly basically took his job away, and he said, like, you can't work for me anymore if you're gonna stay with her, you know. And he was like, fine, you know. He's like, fine, I still want to be with her, so I'm gonna be with her. And so and my dad came from Mexico. I think he was like 16, and then he went straight to New York, and he was in New York working out there, doing his thing, and then he decided to come to Cali where his family was. And you know, a single guy, you know, he was couch surfing basically. He didn't have his own room. He lived in someone's couch. I believe it was my tia Lupe, the one that I told you guys about at the party, and my tío Valdo, if I'm not mistaken. He was living on their couch when he met my mom, and he was working for another sibling who was the one that was like not okay with him getting a lady who was basically a nobody, you know. And so my dad was like, fine, like, you don't want to give me work, like, I'll find work somewhere else. And luckily my dad has a big family, like my mom does. So other of his siblings were like, nah, don't worry, we got you. Like, if that's what you want, like, we're gonna have your back, you know. And so one day, my dad decided to tell my mom, like, you know, like, I'm serious about you, and like, I want you to be with me or whatever. And so basically my dad told my mom, like, you know what, like, I really want you, like, this is serious, like, I'm not joking, like, I really want to be with you, and I'm okay that you have kids, like, I'll treat them as my own, like, we'll be good. But at the end of the day, he didn't have a place to stay. He didn't have like nothing to offer her, no room. He didn't even have a car. Like, my dad, when he would take my mom on dates, she said at first, she's like, oh my God, like, she's like, I thought que I was like, damn, this guy must have a lot of money or something, because like, siempre me viene a traer, like, he comes and picks me up like in different trucks or different cars, and he was borrowing cars. He never told her he had money, and she didn't care. You know, one day I guess he couldn't borrow a car, and he told her, like, hey, you know what, like, I don't have a car to pick you up, like, do you still want to go on a date with me? And mom was like, yeah, that's fine, we can take the bus. So they went on a date and took the bus to wherever they were gonna go. And yeah, sometimes they would walk, she said. Sometimes they would just, you know, figure out ways to like meet up with each other. But he had like nothing to offer my mom. Like, he was a single man. Like, what do you think when you're single and young? Like, you don't think about, hey, let me buy pots and pans. Hey, let me buy like sábanas and stuff, you know? So my dad ended up deciding to tell my mom, like, you know what, like, you're it. Like, I want to be with you, and, you know, I really like you and stuff. And I think the fact that they were from the same hometown is what he really liked, because she would know all the traditions. She would know everything, and she would know how to be a housewife. You know, because from where they're from, you know, the wife does everything, like, and she does it, and she does it good, because they learn from early on how to echar tortillas a mano and salsa de molcajete, moler el maíz and make it into tortillas, and she knew how to do the whole 9 yards, because back where they're from, it's, like I said, a really small, poor place, and so everything is like super old school. He decided to be like, okay, let's get together, you know, but he was like, I don't know how we're gonna do it, because you got kids, and I don't know where we're gonna put them, because like 2 people, somebody letting you sleep on their couch, you know, that can go by, but 4 people. So huge shout out to my tia Lupe and my tío Aldo, the ones that were at the party that bumped into my parents. Huge shout out, because my mom has always told us that they were one of the couples that always had their back, especially in the time of need back in the day. And I remember this, and I think I'm getting emotional, because I can't remember the exact age I was, but I want to say I was like 5, and my older sister was like 6. And yeah, it was like 5 and 6, and I still have memories, which is crazy. My tío Valdo and my tía Lupe used to live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I still know the address. Like, I don't know it by memory, but I know how to drive there. I know how to get there. I know it. And they allowed my parents to live in their closet and us so that we could be a family. We legitly lived in a closet, all 4 of us. And it wasn't like a walk-in closet like what you see like on TV, or like a walk-in closet that you might see at a hotel. Like, this is legitly like a closet that was literally like my parents would fit like long ways, and me and Anita would fit like sideways, like this. We would be like this in that closet. And I remember like even the blanket that was the only blanket my dad owned. It's a green one. And up until recently, I want to say up until the last like 5 years or so, we still had that blanket, because it's just, first of all, it's one of the Mexican blankets that has like a figura, like a tigre or whatever. And those ones last for freaking ever. I love those. I don't care what people say. I have two of them in my house. And I remember that we would use that to like cover ourselves and stuff. But like, I think back and I'm like, damn, like 4 people lived in a closet. Like, I honestly thank God for putting Papatweek in our lives. Because this man took a woman who was like disowned by like anybody who followed tradition, who had kids, who was a failure, a fracasada. And he fucking just manned up for someone who didn't want to man up, you know what I mean? And I have so many words I want to say about him, and I can't even say them. Like, I don't know what word would justify the things he's done for us. You know, I've always been a daddy's girl. I've always had his back 100%. Even like when he would fight with my mom and they would have arguments and stuff, I'd always have his back. Like, nah, Dad, I got you. Like, you're right, Dad, she's tripping, you know? I've loved to work outside. Obviously, if you guys have seen my videos, you know I'm a super tomboy. And obviously, no me peino and stuff. Sorry, guys. I'll try. But this quarantine ain't helping out a girl, you know what I'm saying? So I've always been really, really close to him, because in his work, I always used to go to work with him, and I never used to complain. And I'd never stopped from the time we got to the job site till the time we ended. Like, I'd never complained. I never asked him if he was going to give me money. Like, I never told him like what time to go get food. Like, in his eyes, I was the perfect employee. Obviously, that kind of work for me, it wasn't going to be a lifetime thing, you know? I wanted to get a career. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to do the whole 9 yards and get educated and everything. But if I could go back to his job, I would love it. But it's not ideal if I want to have a family and stuff like that. It's not a job that gives you like a lot of money, you know? It's not consistent. It's not a lot of things. But this guy, like, I remember being young and being like, my mom would be super strict on me and Anita. She always was. She was strict on all our siblings. But we had to be like the perfect kids, because we're right here like living in someone's closet, and we have to be good because we don't want to be looked at as a bad child. Like, oh, look, she has shitty kids. Oh, look, her kids, they cry, hacen desmadre, like, you know, they're all over the place. Like, you know at least one person that has those kids, you know what I'm saying? That they let them do whatever they want, and you're just like, you don't want to be mean to them because you know, you don't want to, you love the parents, but then the kids are like, oh, I'm scared they're going to break something, you know, or like they're going to fuck up some of my nice shit, you know. There's always somebody who has those kids, or that they're super lenient parents that they're just like, no. And she was always super strict on us. And I remember one time, these memories, they flash back like it was yesterday, and I can't believe I still remember them, but I do. And I remember them vividly, like picture, and I remember so much detail. I surprise people when I say it. Time, I don't know what I did. I don't remember what I did. But my mom got really mad at us. Like, oh, I think I went outside the room. So when it was daytime, you know, my tia Lupe, my tia Valdo, shout out once again. They'd let us roam around the apartment. Obviously, they were not going to keep us in a closet. That'd be fucked up. But they would let us roam around in the apartment. And I remember, I don't know what I did, if I touched something or if I did something I wasn't supposed to do or whatever. But I'm 5 years old, like, you know, you know rules, but then sometimes like you don't really know. And I did something, and my mom was really mad at us, and she was really mad at Anita because Anita's like 1 year older than me, so she should know better, and Anita should have me on a leash. Anita was really bad on that leash. She tried, but I always been a little troublemaker since I was young. Like I always was like, I've always been outspoken. I've always spoken my mind, and I've always just like, fuck it, let's try it, you know, or like I've always just been a daredevil, I guess. I'm like, let's see what, a ver qué pasa. And so my mom was really mad at Anita, and I remember she told us like, si se portan mal, I'm gonna send you guys with your grandma, and you're not gonna see me no more, or something like that. I don't remember what she said. I remember I got in trouble, and she was like, and so my mom got mad at Anita, and I remember Anita, like, she's always been like a boss. Like, she's like, you know, I could do it on my own, I can handle it, like, I got this. Like, she's her own woman, you know, she's powerful, and like, I got this, I'ma handle it, you know, like, she ain't worried about nobody, like, I can handle my own. She's 6 years old at the time. And I remember her like grabbing a trash bag and stuffing clothes into it, our clothes into it. And we didn't have a lot of stuff because we lived in a closet, so it's like whatever we could like barely have in there, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just kind of like we had like a little corner of a little room to put our whatever stuff our stuff was, you know, our jaboncitos or whatever. I remember her stuffing the plastic bag with our stuff, our toys or whatever. We must have only had like 2-3 toys at the most, because, you know, we didn't have nowhere to put it, and we didn't have the money to have that kind of luxury. It wasn't something that you just have. And Anita couldn't say Fabiola, which is my full name, so she would call me Bola. And she was yelling at me, whatever, like, you made mom mad, and now mom wants us to go to grandma's, and it's kind of your fault. And I remember her grabbing the bag, and she put it over her shoulder. She put it over her shoulder, and she grabbed my hand, and she was like, let's go, Bola. We're going to grandma's, because mom don't want us no more. And so they catch us, like, leaving the freaking bedroom and going to like the living room, and they catch us with the little bolsita in the back. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, we're going to grandma's because you don't want us no more. My mom was like, put that fucking clothes back. Put that shit back if you don't want me to kick your ass. Like, we legitly at that age thought she really meant it, like, oh, you know, she's gonna fucking leave us. But she was kind of like more so doing it so that we wouldn't get in trouble, or we wouldn't put more wood into the fire, you know, because some people already didn't like her or didn't like my dad for having her, or disapproved or whatever. So she was just trying to make the best out of the situation, you know. Basically, she just was like, I was just kidding. I was just mad at the moment and stuff. And I was like, all right. You know, so we went on. We went on. And I remember them. My mom's a firm believer in whip your kid's ass. You know, if they're acting crazy, if they're acting, you know, not an appropriate way, away. Like, she's a firm believer in, like, you give them an ass whooping. And my dad is so against that. And they would have, like, arguments about it. I remember one time, I don't know what we did, you know? I don't remember what we did. Eventually, we moved out of my tío's little closet, and he rented us the whole room of that closet. I don't know if somebody else lived there with him or what, but, you know, like I've told you guys in previous videos, that's how Mexicans, that's how we do it. Like, it's been 2 or 3 people. I mean, 2 or 3 families in one house, or 2 families in one apartment, you know? That's just the way it was. It was normal for us. I never grew up knowing any different, you know? It wasn't until I was grown that I was like, oh shit, people live in a house by themselves? Or like people live in an apartment by themselves? Like, what? Like, that happens? Like, I was shocked. I didn't know, you know? Which was awesome, because you have like cousins there you can play with and talk to and hang out with, like, all the time. That's great. But at the same time, you guys are always beefing it too, because you're like, oh, they took this toy, or they think they're all that, or whatever, you know? Stupid kid stuff. Eventually, we came out of the closet, literally, and we had our own little room, and they would have arguments on stuff like that mainly I would do or didn't do, or because Anita was like the perfect kid, you know? She would like follow the rules. My mom said don't do this, Anita wouldn't do it. It would always be me getting in trouble, you know, or me getting both of us in trouble, because my mom would be like, Anita, it's your fault because you didn't take care of her, or Anita, you should have told me she was doing this, and you know. So sorry, Anita, shout out to you, homegirl. I feel so bad for her, because she always like got her ass beat because of me or one of my other siblings. Me or Jerry were the main troublemakers in our household, so we would always get Anita beat because of that. Sorry, Anita, we love you. So I remember my dad's so against hitting kids, period. Like, it didn't matter that we were not his kids. Like, he always saw us like his kids. And he was like, no, like, that's, por eso tienen cabeza, para que les hables. Orejas para que te escuchen. Talk to them what you didn't like. Talk to them not to do it again. And like, you know, and he was like, no, don't hit them. Like, I remember like one time into a fight because of me, and my mom was like trying to hit me with the belt, and my dad was like blocking her, like, no, don't do it, no, you know, like, you know, like, he was not condoning it. He never has. So against it. Going to preschool or whatever and seeing other kids with parents, and I never knew why I didn't have a dad. Like, I never knew, like, you know how like in some kids have the luxury of having both parents, and both their parents walk them to school or take them to school and walk them in, especially on their first day. I never had that. I always had my mom, but I was too young for her to explain, and I don't think I would have understood either way. But the first time I actually met Papatweek, that mom introduced us, I remember, like, this is him, and I remember like going up to him and like hugging him, like a koala bear hugging a tree. And I remember him, like, I remember telling him, like, oh my God, are you my dad? And he was tall, obviously, like, compared to me. And I'm like hanging on to him like this, and he looked down at me and he said, yeah, I'm your dad. I didn't think I was gonna cry this much in this video. But it just blows my mind. I know I cried in my mom's video too, but I think I cried more in this video because if you honestly think about it, this is a complete stranger. We don't have the same blood. He doesn't owe me anything. I've heard so many stories. Sorry, too many tears. It got my eyelashes stuck. I've heard so many stories about how many shitty parents there are. Stepmoms, stepdads. They get abused physically, emotionally. They get raped, you know, like hit, you know, punished. You know, I was watching that documentary about Gabriel on Netflix, and I'm just so lucky. Because we got a dad who wanted to be a dad and who was okay with being a dad and who would do anything, who would go above and beyond more regular dads do. Like, he would feed us, he would clothe us, he would give us money. Like, I remember, like, when we started growing up, he would give us $5 on Sundays. And he was always just fair. Like, it didn't matter. Like, if he gave one of us $5, he'd give all of us $5. If he bought one of us shoes, he'd buy all of us shoes. And he's just like, never yelled at us. Like, and when he did, it was more like, my dad's the type of guy, he would make this noise. I haven't seen if he makes it still, but he used to at that time. Whenever he'd get mad, he'd be like, ¿Qué no ves que te dije que hicieras eso? You know, it was like a little at the end, and you knew he was upset. But the awesome thing about this guy is that literally, like, let 2 to 5 minutes go by and he's over it. He don't even care how upset you got him, like, or what you did, what you broke, whatever you did, he would be like over it. And he just doesn't even like hold on to the beef or whatever. Like, you just be like, you're fine, you know? It's like cool to talk to. Like, I felt like I always had somebody to talk to, because even if he got mad at me, I know he'd get over it right away, you know? And I think that's why I've always been on his side, because I've never really met any other good stepdads. You guys follow my brother, you guys know he's a camera shy person. He used to be really bad back in the day. Like, I remember sometimes I'd have some of my friends over and stuff, and he would run and hide into the bedroom like he didn't own the place. Like, Dad, where are you going? And he'd be like, tell me when they leave, you know, because he's just so embarrassed. Like, he'll say hi, like, if you're in the room and he's there, like, he'll say hi and stuff, but he won't sit down and have a full-blown conversation with you. La vergüenza, you know? But he's a lot better now. He's still camera shy. I don't know if you guys follow my brother. My brother's hit 140,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube. Great job, bro. Keep it up. And my sister Beauty Mars, I believe, has like almost 3,000 subscribers. My younger sister J-Lo Blogs has like, I don't know, like 100 and something. And he hasn't been on any of our channels besides him being recorded while we're all there, like kind of like a little, you know. But he's never like sat down and had like a full-blown appearance in any of our channels, because that's just not who he is. He doesn't like that kind of stuff. He doesn't like that kind of attention, and he's not a very emotional person. He's a man of a few words, but you just know, you know. Sometimes he'll just do something and you're just like, I know what he meant by that. Or he won't say anything, or he'll give you a smirk or a one-word comment. Like, I don't know, once again, I'm referring to my brother a lot because you see him a lot more on my brother's channel, if you're from my brother's channel. Like when my brother bought my parents their truck for, you know, because my parents have never had a brand new truck. My dad was like, órale, or, you know, my dad's like, my brother's asking him questions like, hey, is it, what do you think? It's badass, huh? My dad's like, sí, or órale. I forgot what the word he said was, but it was like a one-word thing, and you'd think he'd have a lot of things to say. But that was enough for us to know. Like, we know, like, when he's driving the truck in the video, like, you just know he loves it. That's the type of dad that I wish a lot of people had the pleasure of having. Because, like, we can legitly, like, if you guys have seen my video where I'm there, like, playing Flip a Cup. He's like a little kid at heart. Both my parents are. And they'll be like, oh, like, you guys want to play, like, Flip a Cup? And they don't even know how to play. Like, we'll teach them. And then they'll, like, start playing. And then we'll have water balloon fights. Like, we'll be a family, you know? We'll freaking do a bunch of stuff together. And he'll join in. Like, okay, cool, I'll do this. I'll give it a try. Let's do it, you know? And not a lot of people have that, and that's sad, because a lot of people are like, a lot of people that I grew up with or that I know, parents, like, they're scared of their parents, or they're scared of their dad or their mom, and they don't want to talk to them or whatever. And we don't have that. I have the luxury of, like, I was low-key scared of my mom growing up, no lie, because she was, like I told you guys, she was like pro chancla, pro belt, pro whatever is in my hand. One ass beating that my mom gave me after I senior ditch day. My dad found me putting clothes in my a bag, and he came up to me, and my mom wasn't home at that time. She was visiting my tia, and he came up to me, and nobody was home, and he came up to me, and I was kind of like low-key grounded, so I was home alone because my mom wanted to punish me. She didn't want me to have no fun with nobody, not talk to anybody. She took my phone away. She did the whole 9 yards, you know. So he saw me putting clothes in my clothes. Clothes in the bag. And he came up to me and he was like, "Don't leave." And I said, "What?" I didn't understand what he said. Like, I heard what he said, but I couldn't process it. And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I know she can be a little bit much sometimes, but she just no más quiere tu bien, and you know, she just wants you to be successful, and she doesn't want you to, like, you kind of like fall off the rail, you know, like kind of like get into drugs. She doesn't want you to, you know, get into bad things. So that's why she's tough on you," is what he was telling me. And I kind of laughed, and I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna do laundry. Like, this is my 30 clothes." And he just laughed. He's like, "Oh, okay," you know. But he didn't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like, once again, like, I was 17 at that time. Like, he could just be like, "That bitch wants to leave. That's her pedo, you know. I'm not gonna get involved, or I'm not gonna, you know, do anything." But he always was there. Especially, like I told you guys in previous videos, me and my mom used to butt heads a lot when I was younger, because I was dumb and I thought I knew everything. And you know, you just don't treat your parents as well as you should when you're young, because you don't think about ever losing them. Like, you always think they're gonna be there. You always think, like, I don't know, like, you just think dumb when you're young. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I went through it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are older than me have gone through it. A bunch of new people are gonna go through it. Like, that's just the way that it is, because you feel like they don't understand you. You feel like they don't want to let you have fun. Like, you know, they're a buzzkill, low key, you know. And so he's always had my back, and he's a very, like, personal person. Like, you can't break his little shell, like, you know. And I feel like I was one of the kids that was able to break his shell, because I used to work with him. So I used to talk to him all the time, see him all the time. Like, we would talk and stuff. And one of the best memories I have of him, and this means a lot to me, because I used to play the violin. I used to be in choir. I used to be a president for a club in high school. I used to, I got honors in another program that I was working on. I basically, like, if I do something, I do it right, and I try to hit the top. Like, I'm gonna be the best at this. Bam, I'm gonna hit it. You know what I mean? And so I got this top award for this one program. It was called Link Crew and stuff, and I got, like, the top award, a medal, and this whole 9 yards and stuff. And my dad never attended any of that, you know, because that's just not his thing. It's not his scenery, you know. He didn't go to my elementary, middle school, high school graduations, because he just doesn't like that kind of scenery. He feels like it's too much, you know. And over the years, obviously, he's my dad, so we've all of us, me and all my siblings, know how he is, and we know he doesn't mean any harm from it, so we don't take it personal. So luckily he's changed. He's opened up a little bit more, because I remember him going to Marlene and Jerry's graduation, high school graduation. But he went to my college graduation. I wasn't expecting him to be there at all. I remember walking out And we're all in line, you know, however they told us to go because it has to be alphabetical order or whatever. And I remember getting to the stage and like almost getting to the stage. I'm walking in and like I look to the right side because I hear people scream my name, you know, and I don't know if it's my peers or if it's other people in the audience that had come through because my ex's family was there. And I was like, you know, hey. And I look and my dad's like right there. And that meant the world to me. Because if you know my dad, I remember I started bawling, like my eyes were all puffy. And I couldn't believe he went. Fun fact, even though Anita's older than me, I finished college faster than she did. I was the first one in my whole family, cousins from both sides, and my older sister, to get my degree. I had just turned 21 years old. That's right. I did it, you know? So I was basically like, I literally had just turned 21. So it had literally been, I want to say like 20 days. Like 20 days or so since I had turned 21. So that was like, I was like super young and stuff. And I couldn't believe that he came. Like it was just like the best feeling in the world. I don't know how to describe. Papatweek is the shit. My dad is the shit. I have so much gratitude, respect, and love for this guy, for my dad. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I don't know how ever I can give him back, you know? Like, if I could buy my house, if I could make him retire, like if I could afford that kind of stuff, then I would, like, hands down. That's why when my brother was able to get my parents a truck, like, we were all like super proud of him, super like proud. I don't know what else to say. Like, we were just like, damn, at least you can do it, bro. Like, at least anything that you could do to help, you know, like, awesome, great, you know, because we all want to do it. All my siblings want to do it, you know, because my parents, they're just the shit, you know. And if you've seen my mom's video and now you've seen this video, like, you know what kind of people these are, you know, and they just don't change. I just love my parents, and I hope to one day be able to do what my brother has done or what my brother has started, and hopefully combine forces, all of us, and buy my parents a home or have my parents retire and not have to worry about, you know, the bills or whatever, because I feel like they've both done enough for us to be able to give them at least that back, you know, some sense of tranquility and stuff. This video was honoring my dad, aka Papatweek, because he's honestly just the best. And I love him. I love him so much. And I honestly don't know what I would do with either of my parents. Hopefully I don't have to experience that anytime soon. I hope you guys tell your parents that you love them, you know. Show them that you love them, because life is short. You just don't know when that's gonna happen, and you don't want to regret that, you know. It's not worth it. Family should come first, and for us, family comes first. So once again, huge shout out to my tia Lupe and my tio Valdo, anybody else who has helped my parents along the way and my siblings along the way, anyone who's showing us love and support with sharing our videos, commenting, liking, anything. We truly appreciate and love you guys for all that love and support. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already done so. This is your girls, Fabulous Fabs. I'll see you later, my peeps. Have a good one.